Okay, let's go into the advice portion of the show. I had an accident in my pants at my grandma's funeral. So this is embarrassing, but I need advice. So I was at my grandma's funeral. We weren't very close. She was a bitch. We weren't very close. I wasn't very close to my grandma. She's just 25% of my DNA. Like, okay. That little snarkiness, I'm not appreciative of it as a person with a grandma. And long story short, I needed to go to the bathroom. I needed to go. But my mom was on the right and my auntie was on the left and they were both crying, so I couldn't ask them to move so that I could go and take a shit. Well, I farted. At least I thought I did until I felt the warmness and the heaviness. Oh God, I was mortified. It obviously smelled straight away, so I had to get out of there and fast. I got myself up and shifted past my crying aunt and slowly walked to the bathroom to avoid suspicion. I was wearing a skirt, so no one could tell I dumped one in my tights. Took them with me and left then and there and drove home. But now my mom is mad at me for leaving out of nowhere. I told her I had to deal with something, but she responded, "Something more important than your dead grandma," which really hit me hard. I walked away, but do I tell her or do I make up a different lie? I've never been so mortified in my life. Any advice would help. All right, you dump. You felt the heaviness. You felt the warmness in your tights at your grandma's funeral. You should have left your shitty tights in the trash at the bathroom, in the bathroom trash can. Then they would have known. When grandma's dead and the bathroom smells like shit, could the day get any worse? Hey, where's Amanda? She just left her grandma's funeral? Don't you care about your dead grandma? I shit my pants, Mom. I shit my fucking tights. Do I need to tell you again about the heaviness and the warmness, Mom? I'll go to her fucking grave with a clean asshole. My asshole's been itching for weeks ever since I shit my pants at my grandma's funeral, who I wasn't very close to. Maybe she's just saying she wasn't very close to justify, not feel so bad about it. I wasn't even close to grandma. But it's a family thing, man. You lose someone deep in your family tree like that on the grandma level, on the heavy ancestor level. All right, so an ancestor is someone who, if they died, you wouldn't be alive. So if they died before, that person reproduced. Depending on, so if your mom died before you were born, obviously you wouldn't be alive. But if your grandma died before your mom was born, she wouldn't be. You also wouldn't be alive, and that's an ancestor. Everyone else who could die and you could still exist is your relative. You're welcome. But what do I say? You say I shit my pants, Mom. Look at me. You want to see my tights? Mail her the tights. Be like, what? Did you just send me fucking shit in tights? It's funny, walking out with the bag of shitty tights. Ooh, it's that's not a plastic bag. Those tights ain't a plastic bag. Those tights are porous, so you're not keeping the stink in. So, okay. I'm like, dang, she left the fucking funeral commando. Oh yeah. Oh my God, ew. Shit in your pants. It happens. You shit your pants. I want to know what this lady looks like. Think she's a big lady? She's like, oh, I'm just going to fart next to these crying people. And a funeral might be the best place to shit your pants because everyone is crying. And maybe that means their sniffers aren't working so well. They're all plugged up with mucus and snot. And I had to leave out of nowhere. For me, it wasn't. For me, something else happened out of nowhere, which caused me to leave out of nowhere. Mom, okay. First of all, Mom didn't really like Grandma. Second of all, I shit my pants. Did you want me to sit there in the wetness, the warmness, and the heaviness of a tights filled with dookie? It's like, Yeah, I just it turns out when I get emotional, I'm not a big crier. I get really gassy, and sometimes that results in farts, and just tons and tons of farts, and I get so emotional, and I'm just farting, and I'm just letting it all out, and then I feel the warmness and the heaviness, and the smell is almost instantaneous. It wafts right up. Mom, I shit my pants. You know what? That might have. You should tell her, and this is why. Because that little story you have right there about shitting your pants, that's great. That's gonna fucking turn a tragedy into a tragic comedy, aka my life. Yeah, I think it will lighten the mood. Be like, oh my god, Amanda shit her pants. You remember when I was saying Amanda was such an ungrateful bitch for leaving during her grandma's funeral? Well, it turns out I was wrong. Turns out she just shit her pants. Oh golly, that's fucking funny. It almost makes me not miss Grandma for a second. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks for shitting your pants at Grandma's funeral. You're the fuck. But see, you were selfish. You did not want to share your shit with your family. That's what they needed. There's a reason God made you shit your pants at your grandma's funeral. And that was to add a little bit of levity to a heavy situation. The warmness and the heaviness. Your heaviness could have lifted the heaviness off of the hearts of your family, if even just for a second. Everybody, I loved Grandma. We weren't very close, but I loved her because she was my grandma. And that's kind of what society told me to do. They said, just love this lady. If she didn't exist, you wouldn't exist. That's a reason to love her. And I just went with that. So I loved her. She was my grandma. But I have to leave this celebration of Grandma's life a little bit early due to the fact that I shat my pants. Right now I'm dealing with the heaviness and the warmness, but the warmness is rapidly losing its heat. And now it's just heavy coldness. Much like my heart. Since I've closed off a lot of my emotions trying to process the death of a lady I wasn't very close to, but society said I should feel love for her, which I decided to mouth the words that I do. So, goodbye. I'm not leaving because I wasn't close to her. I'm leaving because the warmness is turning into coldness and the heaviness is getting heavier. So I slowly rocked. I slowly maneuvered. Hey, there's nothing like maneuvering with with your pants full of dukes, with a duke in your pants. That maneuvering, those steps, man, dude, you are walking light with the heaviness in your pants, because you don't want it to roll down your leg. You don't want shit on the back of your knee. You didn't evolve to have shit on the back of your knee. It was not part of our evolutionary process. The back of your knee is an interesting part of your body. But yeah, tell her maybe it will make something sad a little bit funny, and you'll be relieved. And of course, or do you want to make up another lie? Do you want to make up another lie? Why did you have to leave Why did I have to leave my grandma's funeral? I mean, you can just go with the sickness. It's like, oh, I felt super sick. COVID nonsense. Why did I have to leave my grandma's funeral? But like, oh, I saw Movie Times and I wanted to catch that new movie. The DoorDash guy needed directions. I stood outside. I just had to stand outside to wave down the DoorDash guy. I DoorDashed some of Grandma's favorite candy. And then when he came, he actually turned out to be someone who was filling an abduction. So I got abducted. Yes, I got abducted by a delivery man in my attempt to give him directions to drop off Grandma's favorite candy for her funeral. That's why I left. Thanks for asking how I am. I just fought off a guy. I had to fucking grab the wheel, crash the car in a way that I could escape and he would be knocked out. It was a whole fucking ordeal. You almost lost your mom and your daughter. That sucks. Yeah, dude. I shit my pants. I loved grandma as much as society told me to. Because in reality, we weren't very close. And I shit my pants. So I will be leaving early. You're just walking out with the pantyhose. The pantyhose. Thank God for skirts, man. Thank God for like a little bit of layers. So, yeah, I say tell her. I might make something tragic funny. Let's go on to the next thing.